Hello and welcome back to the channel. I'm Marcus from InfoSec Governance, and we're a UK-based cybersecurity company who help to educate businesses and users all about information security on this channel. As part of our service offerings, we help companies work towards becoming certified against the UK-based Cyber Essentials certifications. So if this is of interest to you, check out the link below the video and check out our website for more information. In today's video, we're going to be talking about an important topic when it comes to the general day-to-day use of information security, and this is the CIA Triad. The CIA Triad is made up of three components, which are confidentiality, integrity, and availability. The CIA Triad is also part of the 5 pillars of information security, which is confidentiality, integrity, availability, authenticity, and non-repudiation. Now, I've already got a video on those pillars, so check it out. The topic of information security is vast and ever-learning topic, and generally for most people it's a very dry and boring topic when it comes to it. But without key fundamental components of information security like the CIA Triad, information that you store and process within the business and personally would be useless. So what is the CIA Triad? How does it work, and how can you embed this into your business and just make it work? Well, as we've already discussed, the CIA Triad is made up of the 3 important areas, which is the confidentiality, the integrity, and the availability of information. These areas all overall ensure that you and your information is what it is, where it should be, and is protected. So let's discuss each section and get an understanding of what each piece of the puzzle is. So first up, we've got confidentiality. Confidentiality is, as the name says, it's how do you keep your information safe, which is needed to actually keep it private and public. When it comes to ensuring that information is kept confidential, you need to ensure that you have whatever measures in place to ensure that the protection of and the secrecy of that information is legit. So when you come to look at this, technically it is made up of data, objects, and resources, and these all play that important part of information about your data. The key objective for the confidentiality of information is to ensure that the information which you have is protected and safeguarded from unauthorized disclosure of information, but still ensuring that authorized individuals and systems still have access when it's allowed. But what do we mean by unauthorized disclosure of information? Well, this could be where information has been accidentally leaked to the public domain, information has not been properly locked down by access permissions, and people who are not meant to see this information see it. So think finance or HR information. If people can get access to that information, it's not going to be good. So the information is sensitive and it should be kept confidential. But the disclosure of information could also be done through the oversight of security policies or misconfiguration security controls, such as through access permissions, like we've said, or some other type of control. This is where change control can come into quite a bit within the business. So how do we ensure that information is kept safe and secure and confidential? Well, there are a few ways we can do this through the use of countermeasures, such as ensuring that you use encryption of data, both at the file system as well as within transit or over to HTTPS, TLS, ensuring access control is in place and kept proper, making sure that people are added to groups and not individual user accounts, as this gets really messy, making sure that you use data classifications where possible and ensure that staff are properly trained, and the list can go on and on. Best practices, really. Now, if you'd like some more information about what could be done better here, leave a comment below the video and we can go through this in a bit more detail for you. So what is confidentiality made up of? Confidentiality is made up of many components, but the main areas are, we've got sensitivity. This refers to the quality of information that could cause harm or damage if disclosed without authorization. We've got discretion. This is where a decision whereby someone is in a position that can influence or control disclosure to minimize the harm or damage of information being released. We've got criticality. How critical is the information to the business? The higher the criticality of the information, the more it should be kept confidential. We've got concealment. This is the act of hiding or preventing disclosure of information. We've got secrecy. This is where you are keeping the information secret or preventing the disclosure of that information. We've got privacy. This is keeping information confidential, which is based around personal information. We've got seclusion. This involves the storing of data which is kept away from other data and is generally kept secure through other access control measures. And we've got isolation. As the name suggests, this is keeping the information or data isolated from other information. This could be in another shared area, a building, a network, whatever it is, as long as it's segregated away, isolated. When it comes to confidentiality, you as a business should evaluate the level of confidentiality based upon the requirements of information and the use of the appropriate tooling to actually make it happen. So next up, we've got integrity. Integrity is where you are protecting the information so that it is reliable and it's correct. Having the information available to people and knowing that if it's right and it's up to date. Now, if it wasn't right and it wasn't up to date, it wouldn't be good for you or your customers. So making sure that everything is as true as what it should be is spot on. So how do we ensure that integrity of information can be upheld? So one of the ways of doing this is through the means of ensuring that only people who have authorized access have access to that information, and protect against intended and unauthorized access, such as malware, intrusions, people making accidental mistakes, and things like that. Integrity can be broken down into a couple of areas, these being the prevention of unauthorized access, making changes and modifications to data, as we've said, the prevention of authorized access, making unauthorized changes, such as mistakes, maintaining internal and external consistency of information and data, so making sure that they remain correct and be a true reflection of the real world data. Any relationships between data should also ensure that they're actually being valid and they're consistent, and that they can be verified for consistency between all the data sets. But how can we ensure that integrity is maintained within the environment and that the data is kept valid? Well, like confidentiality, controls must be put in place to ensure that the access to data is controlled and that only authorized access is permitted, making sure that protections are in place to safeguard against unauthorized access and modifications such as malware and viruses. So making sure that you have antivirus or anti-malware software in place, kept up to date and is configured properly. Making sure that people are trained and are aware of what they can and can't do, how they interoperate between information systems, making sure everyone's trained up to do what they can and can't do. It just makes it a little bit easier, reduces the likelihood of accidents happening. We can put safeguards in place by using intrusion detection and prevention systems, encrypting data, ensuring strong access controls are in place, checking and validation of file hashes, training and more, as we've already said. So we have accuracy, is the data correct? We've got truthfulness, is the data a true reflection of the real world data? Validity, is the data correct and is it actually factually valid? We have accountability, so being responsible for the actions and the results of the data are actually being valid. We've got responsibility, so being in charge and in control of the data being presented. Completeness, having everything you actually need to have the full picture of the information. Comprehensiveness, being complete in scope and including all the needed elements to actually present that data. And then lastly, we have availability. So this is, as the name says, we need to ensure that the data is always available to the end person or the end system, and that uninterrupted access is prevented. So we need to ensure that the proper protection controls are in place, that we have enough resilience in place to ensure that uptime and availability of systems are in place. This could be through the backing up communication links, adding additional servers, having mirrored data on disk drives, ensuring protections from natural disasters and so forth. We should ensure that we've got availability in place as well, so making sure that you've got information in two areas if needed, having availability groups in place, having access to data that is valid, and preventing unauthorized access at all times. But we also need to look at technology being used as well by the people. So if you're still using on-premise hardware, you should ensure that backups are always performed and tested, that your hard drives are configured in a RAID configuration with hot spare drives available, so if you lose a disk, the information's still there. That you have monitoring and alerting in place and looking for trends of information, ensuring that that data and the systems are operating as they should be. Checking availability by building and looking at usability, so can the data or systems be easily used and read and learned? Are they easily accessible? So can the data or systems be easily accessed across numerous systems and devices? Can the actual data be presented to the end user or the end system quickly? So reducing the latency, so it makes it available nice and quick for them and nice and respondy. And that's pretty much it. So as you can see, there are three areas that play an important part within your business and general day-to-day life when it comes to information security. So the CIA Triad plays an important part. It's there, it's embedded within the system, security by design and things like that. So if you'd like a bit more information about the CIA Triad or a bit more information about information security, drop a comment in below the video. We'll make some more videos, a bit more content. If you've got any questions, again, put a comment in below the video. And until next time, see you.